Welcome you and all to another episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. I'm your host, Crispin Valentin. Today, we have an amazing story, so make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Why? We have Alejandra Garcia-Ponce. She has her MD. Not only that, but she founded Latina Social Club. Has an amazing story, very powerful Latina. And now, to the episode. Alejandra, hola.
Hola.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I didn't know you were in the forward area, so I know the commute is always crazy whenever at this time when we record. So gracias.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So a friend of yours told me about you, and I thought you had something amazing going on. And then, of course, after you send me some more stuff, I'm like, wow, she has a lot more things going on. Pero before we get started, we're going to do a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile. If you have not subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. You're missing out right now. We got some amazing stories that will definitely change your life, change your perspective, and open your eyes in regards to what the amazing Latino community is doing right now in the community. ¿Estás lista, Alejandra?
Mm-hmm.
¿Tacos o tortas?
Oh, tacos.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Corn.
Corn.
Yeah.
Me sorprende. Siendo de Matamoros.
Sí.
Gorditas de horno or pupusas?
Pupusas.
Yeah. Jarrito de qué sabor?
Sangria.
Sangria.
The one that was in like the glass bottle, the green bottle. That's, yeah.
Oh, nice. Agua de horchata, jamaica o tamarindo?
Oh, tamarindo.
Are you team salsa verde or salsa roja?
Salsa verde all the way.
Salsa verde.
Yeah.
Me too. A ver si digo este bien. Guayín o carne seca con huevo?
I actually don't know what guayín is, but I know my dad loves to put carne seca with every time I go to Mexico. He has me like pick up a bag for him, so definitely that.
Carne seca con huevo. Yeah. They're staple dishes, supposedly. And I double checked with online, but he might have lied to me, porque si me ha mentido, lied to me before. So it's supposed to be something in Matamoros that they use it. Carne a la tan pequeña or discada?
Carne a la tan pequeña, yeah.
Tell me what that is. ¿Qué tiene? What
I
does
think
it
it's
have?
just like carne asada, but I was born in Matamoros, but I have family in Tampico. I don't know what the other one is that you said, but for me, it's just been like a carne asada type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. La discada is like literally a big old disco, a disc, and then throw some oil in and cook the meat también ahí, but they all kinds of different meats, the chorizo, you name it, they probably throw it in there.
Put it all in there, yeah.
It's like a discada. Menudo o pozole?
Pozole.
Valentina, Tapatio, Tabasco, hot sauce, ¿cuál?
Salsa Valentina.
Salsa Valentina, the black label?
No, the yellow.
The yellow label? Está bien, a veces pica. Too spicy. A ver, vamos a ver si no me mete otra vez the search engine. Gorditas endulzadas con piloncillo or camote con piña?
I've never had the first. It sounds delicious.
Yeah,
so,
it does.
And I've never had the second, but I think I'll have to go with the first. If I was going to try something, it'd be the first one.
Gorditas. Dulces. Yeah, sounds like a winner to me too.
Yeah.
Cuando vas a celebrar, when you're going to celebrate, something happened amazing with Latina Social Club, or just in general in your personal life, you want to go out dancing, cumbia, salsa, merengue, or bachata?
Cumbia.
Qué chido. When you hear the word Latina, Latino, or Latinx, what is the first things that come to mind to you?
Pride. Very like orgullosa. Very like a lot of like life and just full of like culture, good food. I just think of like everything that encompasses being Latina, which is it's a lot. So I think for me, it's like I when I'm called Latina, I wear it very proudly. It's just like a badge of honor kind of for me.
Cool. So you don't care if they call you Latina, Mexicana, you prefer, or anything else? It just either way, it doesn't matter to you.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, a Latina, Mexicana. I don't like being called Mexican American, even because I wasn't born here. I know a lot of my friends are like, but you're American, like you have a citizenship. I'm like, I am a citizen, but I don't consider myself an American. And I know that's like a big thing that I always have with my friends. But yeah, Latina, Mexicana, those are always. Yeah.
Well, you're from the continent of America.
That's true.
So,
that's true. Yeah.
Sometimes it just depends on how people want to see it,
yeah.
you know, depending. But yeah, that's true, because I was born in Mexico también.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a citizen también, but I wouldn't call myself Mexican American, because to me, it's somebody that was born here in the United States, per se, and they're Mexican American, even though I'm Mexican American technically too, you know what I mean? Speaking. Okay, una vez más, thank you very much. I appreciate the time that you spend here. I know this is not something that you know typically. I looked everywhere trying to find some stuff, and I could not. But I know people should know more about your story. So let's start in the beginning. In Matamoros, when you grew up, as far as the earliest memories that you can remember, what was it like to you, life, day to day in Matamoros?
So I was 5 when I moved to the States, so I don't really remember a lot. I know my dad, from the family videos he had that like old school video camera, like the little cassettes that you put in the bigger cassette to watch. So I know a lot of the memories in my mind come from watching those videos. I remember whenever I think of Matamoros, I have a playlist on my phone, Bobby Pulido, Desvelado, the song comes on, and I automatically think of Matamoros. We had like a big yard. I remember like what my house looked like, my old bedroom. On the weekends, my brother and I, with my dad, when we were little, we would get so excited on the weekends because he's like, ¿Quién quiere tacos de barbacoa? And like we would all like go with my dad and get tacos for breakfast and come back and have them. And I still remember the taste of them. They're like the best thing on the planet. But yeah, as far as like the youngest memories, I think a lot of it was thanks to my dad, because he was just such an avid like recorder of our lives. So definitely don't have a ton of them, and more memories of Tampico, because that's where my majority of my family lives. But Matamoros is still a very special place, even though I only lived there for 5 years. And
that's pretty neat. A lot of us in 5 years old couldn't remember. I can't remember that. But I remember those feelings, right? Of like rushing to get those tacos and being with the family, enjoying food, and just being playing around outside. In the area that you grew up, was it more like a rancho, a city, a pueblo? Do you remember?
More like a city, like a suburb. I remember like riding bikes around La Manzana, the apple. We had a pretty decent sized yard that we would have like friends over, and I know that we had family friends there too. So it was more like a suburb within like because Matamoros isn't that big. I don't think it's not like a huge city right now, so it was definitely like a suburb vibe.
If you know about Matamoros, tell us. Don't come at her. Just let us know. Enlighten us, por favor. Okay, so now that you're again 5 years old, I don't know if you remember anything of your journey as far as getting to the States, or the reason why maybe your parents shared the reason why the U.S. Seemed like a better opportunity for them at that time.
Yeah, they got offered jobs and they got offered work visas, and it was only supposed to be for a year, but they were offered to extend that, and they were like, we got to do it for the kids. So that's why they moved to the U.S. In terms of like remembering like how I felt or anything like that, I honestly can't tell you. I think for me it was like a very seamless process, because I didn't really know the difference between the U.S. and Mexico because I was so young. I do know, like, my brother and I, we picked up English within 3 weeks because, when you're small, your brains are just like sponges. So I remember my mom telling me that I was, very quick with the English. In the very beginning, the teachers would say, like, oh, I don't remember, like, you told me that she couldn't speak any English. My mom's like, yeah, she's not fluent. And so, well, whenever we ask a question, all the kids raise their hand, and she would raise her hand too. And I think I was doing that because, like, to assimilate, like, oh, if everyone's raising their hand, I gotta raise my hand. But yeah, she said that within like 3 weeks to like a month, my brother and I were fluent. Yeah.
Wow. You're talking about a genius over here. It took me at 11 years old when I got here. It took me probably about a solid 2.5 years to kind of get the rhythm. And I remember one time, I don't know if it was after I knew that I knew how to speak English, like confident in speaking, was whenever I was thinking in English. I caught myself, I'm like, what's going on? Like, oh my goodness, I can think in English? That's weird. And now I haven't stopped. Mayor del tiempo nowadays, I think in English most of it. I have to force myself to think in Spanish if I want to do it.
I guess I never thought about that. I always think in English. I never thought about that.
But I have to force myself to think in Spanish if I want to think in Spanish.
Yeah.
It just, because it's been so many years, it just goes there.
Yeah.
Okay, so growing up in school, as far as everything, so you couldn't even tell the difference, like you said, literally going to school from Mexico to another. It just, the kids didn't seem to be like looking at you a little different because it was fast though to learn English. So I can see why. Yeah,
and honestly, when I would tell kids, like even in middle school growing up, like I'm Mexican, like I was born in Mexico, like, well, you don't look Latina, you don't look Mexican. I didn't have the language back then to be like, well, you know, Mexicans come in all like we're just very diverse. It doesn't matter like their idea of a Mexican. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't me. So they didn't see me that way. And I was speaking, English perfectly. So I think the only time that I really noticed it was when I was able to like ace out of the 4 years of Spanish that we were forced to take in high school. But other than that, like it was a very seamless, like I didn't notice a lot until I was older and I'm like, oh, okay, like Mexico and US.
Do you remember the one time when people were saying like, you don't look Mexican or you don't look like the part that you're supposed to look like? And what did it make you think about that time? What do they mean or what are they saying?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really like, I was kind of confused. I was like, what do you like, what? And I didn't realize that for them, someone who's Mexican or Hispanic was a lot darker. And I was always like, I didn't really look at like the skin color like that. And I'm like, oh, my mom's like, well, it's because it is güera, like you're not, And my mom's very, like, she has darker skin. My dad's very light skinned. So for me, like to hear that was like the first time that I actually looked at myself and I was like, oh, like I guess I don't look like what their idea of someone who's Mexican looks like. So I just thought it was like, okay, that's weird. But I didn't let it really affect me or shape me in any way.
Then you got booted out of Spanish class?
I was able to ace out. My brother and we took a test and I'm like, yeah, you don't need to be here. But I actually wish I would have stayed to learn how to write it better because I can read and speak it and understand it. But I can't like write it with all the little acentos. It always messes me up.
Yeah, nobody does it here properly
no.
anymore. Everybody's pena, not peña. What the heck who's that person? You get out of school, I don't know if you're proactively in certain sports, if you like sports, you like running, if any of those things draw your attention when you're going through school.
Yeah, I was a cross-country runner. I did track and I played like one season or semester, I guess, of basketball, but I stuck with the running. I really liked running. I had to stop when I was like 24, 25 because of my knees. But yeah, I was a really big runner.
All right. Did that open any opportunities for you as far as you head into college or any of that stuff?
No, I was not athletic enough. No, but it's something that I continued to do even like while I was in college as like not like a physical thing, but for my mental thing. It helped me like clear my mind. Like the runner's high is very real. So I was really devastated when I had to stop. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you experienced runner's high for real and you were like, oh, this is neat?
It didn't come until like 6 months after like me running. And I was like, what are they all talking about? And then I got into like this mode where I was like, oh, wow, this feels like I'm not tired. Like I can keep doing this. And it felt good to keep running. And I had like that pace. It didn't come all the time, like the runner's high. But when it did, I was like, yeah, this is nice.
This is nice.
Yeah.
This is neat. As far as early memories of the things that you experienced in your life, I know you were fairly young, but anything in the household, the culture that kind of sort of helped you, that you still kind of sort of honor it and think that it helped you in the long run?
Yeah. So my mom always said, when you step foot into this house, even like when you're like in the driveway, it is Mexico. Like this house is Mexico. So I think that's what really helped tie everything to my like my roots. We always spoke Spanish in the house. My dad and I would watch the novelas. And my dad would always cook Mexican food, like traditional, like passed down from his mom. The music that my dad listened to as well, like the old school, like, Mexican music and mariachis was just always in my home. So I feel like that really kept me tied to my culture and the fact that like we couldn't really speak English in the house. My mom would force us to speak Spanish, which, I mean, besides coming to this country, it's another gift that they gave us because I know a lot of kids who have parents that speak Spanish and they don't. So we're really lucky, my brother and I, to be able to understand and speak it fluently because my parents did that.
And that's great part of your parents because, for example, myself, I wanted to be like accepted as with the kids to be able to speak and hurry up and not so much have an accent so I don't be make fun of or almost get into fights because they're saying you speak funny things like that, you know. Yeah. And a lot of times you'd be like, well, I kind of like don't want to be too Mexican because people see you weird, so you want to be as a kid. I'm talking about as a kid, not as a grown up. Don't come at me. But I'm saying at that time you kind of sort of just want to make sure that you fit in. Yeah. With everything that everybody's doing. So it's great that your parents were able to instill your roots and everything else at the house so that way you don't forget about it and you kind of sort of like want to distance yourself away from that for a while because you don't understand why people are looking at you strange. You're just trying to be like everybody else, but you know, you have a beautiful culture that you should be appreciated. But again, as a kid, sometimes you don't have the wording, you don't have the understanding to be able to do that. So it's great from your parents to do that. Did you ever realize they were doing that?
No, and honestly, I now saying it out loud is a little embarrassing for me because my uncles, because we would go spend the summers in Tampico, and I would always say like, they would say, "You're Mexican, it is Mexicana," and I'd be like, "No, I'm American. I live in America. I'm American," and I had this like smug attitude about it. And now looking back, because I was a child, like you said, like a lot of parents want their kids to fit in, so they kind of like don't promote them to speak their native language. And I just remember, like, now looking back, I'm like, wow, I was just such a dummy about it. I was a kid about it when I should have been, like, my proud Mexican self, like, speaking Spanish and everything. But then again, Cleveland, Ohio, wasn't a very diverse location. Like, we didn't have any Latino kids. Like, I had one friend that was from Puerto Rico. Like, her parents are from Puerto Rico. But other than that, it was very, like, white suburbia, like, school. So looking back, like I'm a little embarrassed to say it because now I'm like, I wear it like a badge of honor, but I think it was a little bit of like hiding in a way.
Did your tíos ever remind you that?
Oh,
¿Te acuerdas? ¿Te acuerdas cuando venías aquí que decías que?
Every single time, yeah.
So Ohio is where your family ended up landing first, getting to? Awesome. And then after that, what, as far as like the health career that you do, was that already something that you saw yourself doing as you were going through high school, or how did they open up for the health part that you do?
Yeah, I think as a young kid, like I was really drawn to like science and medicine and the bodies exhibit. I don't know if you've heard of the bodies exhibit where they have like,
I heard of it, I never seen it. Yeah,
they came to Cleveland and I like dragged my mom to it and I was just fascinated and I thought I wanted to be a nurse. Got into nursing school, did not like it, and I was working at the Cleveland Clinic, which is a really big hospital in Cleveland, and I was a nursing assistant, and it was just so repetitive for me. So I ended up changing my major to health sciences, and I'm like, well, I like epidemiology, I like the study of diseases, I like to learn about all the morbid things, like at the CDC level 4, like how people have to like really handle, like for example, like Ebola with care. I was like fascinated with it. And it that changed as well after I like studied abroad. So it's always been there, but I had to change my major a couple times to figure out what I wanted.
When did you go abroad? What area?
I went to Sweden my undergraduate senior year, and that I had an experience there that was just like, okay, I need to work with community. I need to work with like public health and health policy.
Whenever somebody says public health, it could be like, to me, it'd be like, oh, what the heck is that? Like the public or the health. What it all entails that people really, when you say the word, don't really understand that it is public
health. It's a very broad field. So you could do like public health policy. You could do like epidemiology, study of diseases. You can be a physician that works in like a big, organization that deals with like implementing like different things for like the wider population. So when you think of like healthcare, you think of the individual, and when you think public health, it's like the health of the whole as a population. So like what can we do, like vaccines, for example, that's going to help the population with diseases and ailments. So that's kind of how I think of it.
And what is your wheelhouse? What is your focus for you?
For me, it's health policy. So I have my master's in public health, and I want to focus that even more into I'm going to pursue my doctorate in health policy with immigrant health. Yeah.
Okay, when you say you were abroad, a situation or something happened that kind of opened your eyes. What happened? Can you share with me? What did you see? What did you hear? That are like, oh yeah, this is my focus.
Yeah, so I went abroad, and I made a bunch of Latino friends, which is something that I didn't see coming. I was friends with people from Nicaragua, from Colombia, from Mexico, and then from Spain, which I guess they're not really Latino, but they spoke Spanish, so they fit in the group. Yeah. There was a Colombian student who was doing his thesis on the integration of computing applications and how those helped refugee and asylum seekers that were coming to Sweden from like South America or like from the Middle East integrate into society. So whether they were using like laptops or computers to find jobs or to like see what healthcare options there were, daycare for their kids. And I helped him because his primary language was Spanish. And so he's like, can you proofread or like look over my thesis paper? Because I just need you to make sure that grammatically it makes sense. And then he's like, and I also need your help like formulating a questionnaire. Can you proofread the English version? And so then he asked me if we wanted to go and like pass them out. So I got to meet refugee and asylum seekers that came from different countries to Sweden to start their new life from all over. And it really touched me. They were very open with their stories, their struggles, why they came to the country. They were all living in this big hotel, and they were all like sharing food together. Their kids were all playing together. And it was a very like that moment when I related to them because I was an immigrant that came to the United States, and I was just very touched from all their stories, and it really made a huge impact on me. And I think that's when I was like, public health, I need to work with immigrants. I need to work with like, that's like the field that I need to get into. That's what I'm passionate about.
You sound very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Any particular story they shared to you that kind of hit harder than all the other ones, besides the part of the immigrants, and you're an immigrant?
I think, I mean, overall, I think their stories, like they didn't want to leave. Like they were forced to leave to give their kids a better life or because their country was at war. So I think that, I mean, it's just difficult for people to go somewhere that they don't want to go, but they have to go because they need to survive. There wasn't really one story that stuck out the most. It was just like how warm they were and how accepting they were and how they were just there to just share who they were, share their story. And I also got to go to a school because one of the requisites is for them to learn Swedish. So I got to interview a bunch of like high school kids from different countries and just like the coolest, most awesome humans ever. It was a really fun experience. I got to go, like my dream was to go to Europe and like see Europe, but I think that moment was like the highlight of the entire experience that I had abroad.
It's very interesting to hear you talk about immigrants because usually the talking points here in the U.S. is that we have an immigrant problem. But are we the only country that has an immigrant problem?
No, I was actually really shocked. I was shocked that I thought that Europe would handle it better, but they also had their problems. They also had people that didn't agree with immigrants coming. They had people that did agree. They had people who were compassionate. They had people who weren't. So it really did shock me because of the negative rep that immigrants get in the United States. Whereas like I was like, oh, it's a European country. It's more, forward thinking, and that wasn't the case. So you're going to find that everywhere.
I went to Turkey last year, and as the gentleman was speaking, taking us to wherever, he talked about how high the inflation was over there, way higher than us. And one of the issues that they have as well, guess what? Immigration too. I was in Iraq for some time, but when I was in Iraq, I got to talk to some Filipinos, and a lot of them immigrated to Dubai, and they had to make their journey over there. So I know they had an issue over there too with the labor because a lot of the ones were in the poorest conditions. So no, it's not the U.S. only. The entire country, if you look, all of them, Turkey, again, I just know it for personally because I've been there. I've seen it. I heard from a local guy telling me they have problems with immigration as well. Not just here. And then now, when you were over there, seeing other people getting misplaced, even though they wanted to be there, they had to leave. And now they have to, be part of another country because they had to. Had no option. Yeah, it's funny to me whenever the news just portrays one person like we're the only ones that have issues. We're problem. Not. We're not. So moving on. Get passionate about this thing. Okay, once you are locked in, again, you're pursuing public health, and then the field that you're at. Why master's? Because it's a bigger commitment, it's a longer commitment, there's a lot more education. And if you're getting grants or if you're getting help, that's great. But if you're not, it comes with a bigger expense. Why did you decide to move forward with your master's?
because I knew that like, so getting my undergrad was one thing, and like I love learning, I love studying, I mean, if I could have a full-time job and it be being a student and going to school, that's like what I would choose.
You like that?
I love going to school. Yeah, lectures,
part, yeah.
like going, like learning the books, the way the books smell. I love it all. Awesome. So my master's, I did a hybrid program, and that's where I was able to hone in on like the health policy and like the immigration problem like that Texas has, which is its own monster. And then from there, I thought I needed to get a terminal degree because I wanted to be able to work for like a nonprofit. I wanted to be able to implement policy. And like to do that, you kind of have to have like those like letters behind your name, like to be taken, more seriously. So I'm trying, like I'm in the process of exploring doctorate options, and it is expensive, and I'm going to have to do it part-time while working full-time. I'm going to have to take out loans, but I think that it's, for my career anyway, a necessity.
When you were going to school, did you see anybody like you besides running into a bunch of Latinos in Sweden? Is there any other Latinos that you saw going to school that were trying to focus on the things that you were doing?
Not that I can remember. Not that I can remember. I know like in maybe like nursing school, but there weren't a lot of people that were focused on like the immigration problem, like health policy. I know a lot of them wanted to do like epidemiology, and I thought that's what I wanted to do, and I took a course in it, and I did not like it. And it's not until I took my health policy course that I was like, wow, this is really interesting stuff.
What is it about policy in general that for you, it just lights you up in regards to, specifically to immigrants? What does it do? For people that don't know what it entails, what it takes, or why it's important.
So for me, what really sparked the fire was, so I was doing the hybrid master's program, and my thesis instructor was like, you need to pick something that you need to write about. You need to focus in on something. And I remembered my experience in Sweden, and then I was like in Texas, and I was like the immigration problem in Texas, and then also healthcare access. So I'm like, the healthcare access for immigrants that come here undocumented is not, like, it just doesn't exist. Like it's very hard to get.
Really? They're not over here taking all the health resources? They're not? Wow, yeah. I'm shocked.
Yeah, so I wrote my paper. Yeah, I wrote my paper on the barriers that undocumented immigrants face in the state of Texas. There's other states like New York and Massachusetts and California that are doing something about it. But Texas, and I think Florida as well, to practice health policy in those states is, like I said, its own monster. It's incredibly hard to change policy. And I even remember like the panel when I was presenting my thesis, they were like, that's a good paper, but that's never going to happen in Texas. And my thesis instructor was like, why would you say that? Anything's possible. So I think that's what really drew for me. It's like, it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to change policy because there's so many different like state level and then federal level. So I think it's just like the challenge, but also, you're doing it for like a really good, like for me, like it drives me because I relate to that population. And I just want to do as much as I can to make it easier. Like nobody should have to fight to get healthcare anywhere. It should be something that's just given to you. So I feel very passionately about it because it's just something that it shouldn't be policy. It should just be given.
What did you present to the panel that they were like, it's not going to be possible? What was in your thesis that were like, oh, I don't know about that? Yeah,
so some of it was like using Medicaid, Medicare to help, fund these programs for non-documented immigrants. A lot of them just focused on like how, like the problems in Texas. So like if somebody that was undocumented needed like dialysis, they'd have to go to the ER, and that cost the ER money, and that cost the ER like resources, and it made it extremely expensive. And only when they like have an emergency, they're using the ER as their primary care, which is something that really shouldn't be happening. And how like New York and Massachusetts had these kind of, it's called like PERLA, PWRLA. I might be messing it up because it's been like 4 years now since I've done the thesis, but how they have these like programs in place to help immigrants, especially like children that come, like they easily get it, but they're in Texas, it's just you don't have it. So I think that's what really like drove me to it, because they have to use emergency care to get health care.
So policy wise, throughout every state is different.
It's different.
It's very different all the way around.
Yeah.
I think my understanding is the concern for the government shutdown right now is because immigrants are going to take the resources that they can't get.
Yes.
That you're telling me that they can't get. And I think it's hilarious. Can you tell me a little bit about that when you hear it?
I know I've seen stuff online, and I know that, they think like, oh, they're coming in here, they're taking our resources, our healthcare. And I just don't understand how that's possible if, like you said, they can't access them. It's incredibly hard for them to apply. They can't even apply for it. So I think it's just kind of, it's just comical to me, that's kind of what the issue is, and that's why that it's happening.
You hear it for somebody with a master's that believe it, that they are going to get them and they're not, are getting you brainwashed because they're telling you stuff and you're hearing it over and over. You think it's true. It's not true. Lady right here wouldn't like this. I'm just saying. Unlike other people. The network. I'm just kidding. Don't come at me, networks. We're independent. So, okay. Finally, your master's. How does it feel? First of all, your undergrad. How does it feel to get it and get your bachelor's degree? And like, oh man, I got it. How did the feeling come about? And were you your first generation too as well, right?
Yeah, first generation. I think it was always instilled, especially by my dad, like, you're nobody in this country. These exact words, you're nobody in this country unless you have a car and you have a degree. And that's kind of like, that's what I listened to growing up. He was always like, education first, get your education. And as a first generation Latina, like my parents grew up, like they went to school in Mexico. They didn't know that they had to do campus tours. They didn't know about the SATs, ACTs. My other friends were like, oh yeah, I can't hang out because I'm getting tutored by my brother's SAT instructor that helped him get a really great score. And like they had those resources because their parents went through it. And I was the guinea pig too, because my brother then ended up doing the same thing. But I was really the driving force. My mom, told me when I graduated, like, this is all you, because you led us to the meetings with your advisors. You told us what campuses to tour. You gave us the FAFSA form to fill out. Like, you're the one who drove this. So I don't really remember it being like something extra that I had to do. It's just like you're a junior, senior in college, like thinking about in high school, thinking about college is like overwhelming. I just thought it was like a normal part of the process. Like, but I now looking back, it's like, oh, my parents didn't know how to navigate that system, and I was kind of like the representative for myself in there.
Do you think you were fortunate to grow up in Ohio, that there's more güeritos that kind of sort of know the system and kind of can tell you, hey, girl, you need to do this, girl, you need to do that? Or you didn't, or you just get into stuff and figuring out how to do it. Like, for example, the FAFSA, they're super challenging sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a good school system. That's why my parents moved from like North Olmsted, where we were, to Olmsted Falls, which was considered a really good school system. So I definitely had really great advisors that helped, and I had teachers as well. And my friends also were all, American. They were all, their parents had done that before. So when they would be like, oh, did you fill out your da-da-da-da? I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot to do that. So I think being in a good school system definitely helps.
Man, they put you on game. You even know. Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that. Oh, shoot, let me go get you that. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, but what is the feeling behind when you graduate? When you finally get through all that stuff, you kind of sort of stumbled through, figured it out, and got it done, and now you're kind of sort of opening the path to your siblings to be able to do it. How did that feel?
It felt really great. I was very proud of myself. And I think, I don't know if you've seen, like, when kids graduate, they have, like, their cap and they put, like, I don't know, whatever they want to put on there. Yeah. And I think I made the Mexican flag on my undergraduate cap. And then I put, este logro es para mis papás. Like, this is for my parents. And I just felt a lot of, like just very, very proud of myself. My parents were very proud. And it was something, I think I was doing it more, I was doing it for myself, but I think deep down I'm like, this is also for my parents who sacrificed their entire lives of like not being close to family to be able to come and do this.
Well, I'm proud of you as well. Congratulations. Great feat. But you're not even stopping there. You go for your master's. Once you get your master's and you can see the finish line. Yeah. It's right there. Once you get it done, the master's, how did that feel for you?
It was a little bittersweet because it was during the pandemic that I graduated in 2021, so I didn't get to like walk and get like hooded and everything. But I know my dad bought some champagne. We were celebrating. I got photos taken at the Botanical Gardens here in Dallas. Again, like another proud moment. And like I think I was 2018 to 2021, so it took me a little bit because I was also working full time. Another great accomplishment, and it's what like really pushed me to continue on my like if I can do this, now I can do like the more difficult, like the doctorate.
Plus you enjoy being a student.
And I enjoy being a student,
What better formula than just to do it? Again, very proud of you.
Thank you.
I don't know you like that, but in order first gen to figure it out, to bachelor's, to masters to even one more. I don't doubt it. And it's amazing. It's amazing work. And in a field that I don't know if there's even a lot of Latinos, Latinas, they even get to that field, explore. Like you say, you saw some nurses. I know there's quite a bit. But after that, what else is there? So,
yeah. I don't think that there is a lot. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that we need more.
Yes.
We need more. Okay. So did you have any kind of mentorship idea that you wanted to have during that time? Any seeking of mentors that you wanted to? Did you know the power of mentorship at that time at all?
I definitely considered the Colombian student that he was a big mentor because he was doing his master's and I was like, oh, I want to do what he's doing. And kind of like do the research and case studies that he's doing. So he was a pretty big mentor and a really big influence for me to get into higher education. And then other than that, I definitely didn't have like a mentor per se, but something that I guess I didn't look for it, but sometimes like they would appear, like my advisors and stuff.
Nice.
So I think those were like the big two while I was in college.
So they were unofficial, but they were definitely there helping out. Okay, let's get to Latina Social Club. You finished everything. How did you ended up here in Texas?
So my parents moved in 2015 to be closer to the family in Mexico, and then I followed in 2020. And I just I needed to move. I wanted to get out of Cleveland, and that's what moved me to Dallas. Yeah.
So 2015 is when you get here.
2015 is when my parents got here. 2020
is when you got here.
Is when I got here.
Right by the pandemic.
Yes. Perfect time to start a social club.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing too. First of all, I don't know if anybody knows this, but in 2020, we're not going anywhere. We're not socializing. Technically, it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
What makes you want to decide to start a group? And first of all, the name. Why the name?
So I didn't really think of I didn't really have any the name has to be I didn't have a process to determine the name. I just thought Latina Social Club. I didn't really mean for it to have any meaning for me coming up with it. I hope that now it has community and sisterhood when you think of Latina Social Club, and but I didn't really have I gotta determine what the name is because I want it to mean this and I want it to do this. So I don't think it's just Latina Social Club is what it was. Yeah.
So in your mind, when you created it, the name just came out. But what in your mind did you saw out there on the real world that was lacking that you want to make sure that you fulfilled that? What was it?
So later on, 2021, 2022, I moved to Uptown Dallas from Arlington. And I actually became an ambassador for another social club. But I found it very difficult to connect to the women. And growing up in Cleveland, I didn't have a lot of Spanish-speaking I didn't have any Spanish-speaking friendships. And I was like, now that I'm in Texas, I know I'm going to find some Latinas that I can be friends with and practice my Spanish. But that wasn't the case when I was an ambassador planning events for that social group. And then I thought to myself, why not start something where a group where I don't have to explain, oh, my name's Alejandra, but you can call me Ali. I can just say, my name's Alejandra. Me llamo Alejandra. I didn't have to shorten my name or mispronounce my name so somebody could understand it. I didn't want to have to explain my culture, my music taste, or the food that I ate and just the inside jokes of growing up Latina. I think it's just a lot more you're just chistes, and it's just a different kind of vibe when you speak Spanish and when you get along with somebody in Spanish. And I was really, really missing that connection. I didn't identify with the women, the great women, but I just didn't identify with what they were, talking about.
One thing is seeing that there's a lack, and then the other one is to go ahead and say, let me go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So how do you start structuring the things that you want to do and getting the word out to other Latinas that, hey, this is going to be a group, that we're going to do different things?
It was definitely cold feet at first. So I started it on the Geneva app, which is now the Bumble BFF app. They just switched it over. And it started with 70 girls, and I was like, hi, my name's Alejandra. I want to start, getting events together and bringing us together. I met a lot of great friends on Bumble BFF, and I kind of had that mentality, bringing a bunch of girls together and all of us hanging out, doing something fun. I got cold feet, and that was in November 2023. And then in March of 2024, I was like, okay, no, I have to make the Instagram page. Because I thought to myself, if I'm feeling isolated, there has to be other girls like me. So I went on Instagram and I tried to find a group of Latinas, and I found just entrepreneur groups like Latinas in Tech, or Latinas in business, but there wasn't really like like a social like a social club just for Latinas. So that's kind of what I was like, well, no one's doing it here in Dallas. Like, why don't I start it? And that's kind of how like it came about.
What is for you being social and having a social group do to the whole group in general?
What do you mean? Like
as far as why is it important to have that type of community for that? Socially, not just focus on business whatever.
A lot of the things that came out, like socially, like it's great to have friends that you can relate to, but I think even in the Latina Social Club like events right now, the conversations that we have are a lot deeper than that. Like they go towards like, hey, I was experiencing like racism in the workplace, or I'm the only Latina out of my office and everybody else is like white male. So I think that in order to have those deeper conversations, you need to feel safe. And I think Latina Social Club provides that space. Like, these are Latinas just like me. Maybe they're going through the same things that I'm going through. And I think there is a social fun aspect to it, but there's also that like support and like we are great in numbers and like the community aspect of it, of like supporting each other.
Yeah, people say all the time, find your tribe. And a lot of the times, what does that mean really? But a lot of times the things that you have in common with a lot of the people, the way you grew up, again, the things, the sense of humor that people don't understand is like, wow. Okay, you hold yourself accountable, you make the Instagram page, you start looking for people, and then you decide to do your first event. Do you remember the day of your first event? And how was the vibe? How was the expectation bigger than what you received? Was there anything you learned immediately from that event?
Yeah, so the first event, I will say I was not at. I had.
You did not go to your first event. What the heck?
I was planning on going. It was at Frida Cafe, Cafe Frida in Garland, and I had an ambassador because I put out applications of people like, you want to be an ambassador for Dallas and help me out with like lead events. I got food poisoning.
Oh my goodness!
So I wasn't able to go, and it wasn't a big turnout. I think it was like 5 girls. The second event that we did was a dinner in Addison, and 10 girls came, and I was really happy because out of all like the RSVPs, like all RSVPs got filled up. Nice. And that was like our first dinner, and that's when I kind of like was able to see like girls would come in and introduce themselves, and then they would say their name in English, and then the other girls would be like, oh, Karina, you know, like instead of Karina or like whatever, they would use, like, they would say, oh, Karina, or like Alejandra, oh, Alex. Like they would automatically do like the cool nickname that I like. So automatically those conversations started, and I just sat back and like listened to all the conversations, the music that they were talking about, like the TV they were watching, how like one's dad was like put on this song and like, oh yeah, mi papa también like also played that or whatever. So automatically it was doing what I intended it to do. And it was a really cool thing to see.
The first event, you get sick, you don't make it. The turnout is not that great. How does it make you feel of like in general, and then like wanting to do it again and then being successful the second time?
I think I kind of expected it. Like I think we had like less than 100 followers on Instagram. And we were just getting started. My social media skills on there were not great. Like the flyers don't look great at all. But I didn't let that deter me. I knew that the more I did it, the more like the word would get out there that there is this space available for Latinas to come meet and create friendships. So I didn't let that like get me down, but I was very happy with the 10 that came the next time. And I was like, okay, this is something. I think for me, it was seeing the connections that made me keep wanting to do it.
Okay. And then after that, as far as, well, the ambassador came from the other organization that you were, it kind of sort of helped spread the word. Is that kind of like the technique, or why that you thought ambassador was important for you to have?
She was someone that I put out on like an application. Like, this is a volunteer position. If you want to get involved and lead events, let me know. And 2 girls popped up, one from Fort Worth, one from Dallas, and they were Latinas and they were interested in it, and they signed up for it. I thought it was important, just one, so we didn't get like super what's it called? Like it wasn't just all on me, like every single weekend to do an event that we could all like share. And then one in Fort Worth as well. So we would have Dallas events and a Fort Worth event. And at the beginning I was like, let's just do 2 events a month, one in Fort Worth, one in Dallas. And Dallas ended up taking a little bit more off than Fort Worth. Now Fort Worth is like really popping. But back then it was mostly Dallas that like kind of flourished.
When did you see, after a few events, they're like not even recognizable? as far as like how many people are showing up and how much the intrigue is to want to be part of it?
It definitely took a while because there was a lot of like hit and miss events of maybe sometimes the tickets were too expensive for what we were doing, or like people were busy. And I definitely want to keep the event small. So I've been a part of like clubs, and I've gone to different like organizations where like you meet like probably like 80 something girls. Like it's just a big group of girls. And I knew I didn't want like Latina Social Club, when they came to the club, to get lost and to just like exchange Instagrams. I didn't want it to feel like very like not fake but rushed and like, oh, I have to meet all these people. So that's why I like to keep events small, so that there's like genuine connection, so that when you think, oh, these are the girls that I met, you remember, oh, she's from Guanajuato, or like she was born in, you know, Peru and she came with her family. Like I want those memories to be so that it forms better friendships.
So you understand that by having those more intimate spaces, smaller groups, that the conversation will be a lot deeper, and then those relationships will be a little bit more intentional as far as like going into the future, instead of like, hey, hi, my name is Crispin.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what was that girl that I met? What was that guy that I met there? Whatever. Just like who cares? Like you know, too many people.
Yeah, too many people.
Too many people. So where do you get that idea of doing that specifically, and knowing that those intimate, deeper conversations lead to longer term relationships?
It happened to me. I mean, I was like, oh, here's your Instagram, here's an Instagram, here's an Instagram. Like, or like when you talk to a lot of girls on Bumble BFF, to like create those friendships, a lot of the chats just get lost because you're talking to a lot of different like potential friendships. So kind of from firsthand experience, but then like the more events I did, the smaller the groups were, like 10, 15 girls, the conversations got a lot deeper. So I think I was just like, this just needs to be something where like, unless it's like a celebration or something big, I want to keep it like 10 to 20 girls max.
That's awesome. That's neat that you saw that immediately, and you saw that I'm not going to put them in that situation. I'm going to put them to be more successful and creating better, more purpose intentions of friendships that can go into, you know, whatever it's going to go into.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now you have, I don't know if you have a board, but if you have people that have and do stuff now, you have, I don't know if all the positions that you have available as far as the people that volunteer for. What do you have so far?
I mean, I knew I wanted to mention that because I didn't want to go without mentioning that I wouldn't be where I am today without the amazing team. And I've had ambassadors who have stepped down because they've moved or like because they're in school. So right now I have 2 Dallas ambassadors. I have 1 Fort Worth ambassador. I have Aide, who is our kind of like, she's like our coordinator, / like she comes with a lot of experience in like running a business because she owns her own, and she's very well connected to the community. And then I have my friend Christine, who runs our book club, and that's new. That just started like maybe a couple months ago. She's very passionate about reading Latina authors, and she's like, I want to do that. You know, we think that's a good idea. And I'm like, yeah, come do it for Latina Social Club. So she manages that, and then Destiny, who is she's amazing, who does our social media, like all our recaps, our flyers. Like the ambassadors can make their own flyers and it goes through her, and she like puts the logo on it. She makes sure it's the right dimensions. So she's the face behind like what our Instagram page looks like.
Neat. So you have quite a bit of a group of people.
Yeah.
Is there always opening to be an ambassador, or a way to apply, or people want to get more involved? Do they just DM? Do they email? Where do they get a hold of y'all for that?
Yeah, so right now, I know these ambassadors are like brand new. They started maybe like 6 months ago. Whenever there's a position, like we need someone to like, oh, we want to expand to do more events in Dallas, or if someone's going to step down because they're moving or because they have a lot of like work going on or something like that, we open up an application on our website. The one position I could see opening up in the future to help Crystal, who is our Fort Worth ambassador, out is another Fort Worth ambassador to help her like with events, because Fort Worth in the very beginning, crickets over there. I'm like, are there no Latinas that live in Fort Worth?
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot. I knew there was a lot. And I'm like, so now they're coming out and they're like, we want to do events Arlington, Fort Worth, or like, what about like North Richland Hills over there? So I know she's getting a lot of great reviews from like events, like girls that reach out and say she's so sweet, she's an amazing host. So I know that she's going to eventually need more help out in Fort Worth.
Awesome. Be on the lookout.
Yeah.
You started incorporating vendors,
Mm-hmm.
and when did that started, and why did you want to incorporate vendors, and what are some maybe requirements that you're looking for as far as the vendors that are going to be part of your events?
Yeah, so I know that it's been amazing to see, like, in the year and a half, almost 2 years that we have now doing Latina Social Club, the amount of Latinas that have popped up on social media doing Pilates clubs, doing their own like version of their social club, not just in Dallas and Texas, but like all over the world. I know clubs in Germany. There are Latina social clubs in Germany, Sweden. We have like a founders group chat of like all Latina social clubs in the States. And I know some of the bigger organizations, for me, not the community gets lost, but I feel like I really wanted to highlight the community here in Dallas Fort Worth and Latinos and Latinas and their small owned businesses. So I feel like I wanted to kind of give back to them, and I also wanted to highlight them. And so when I look for like a vendor to partner with, it could be like we just did a Pilates class with a Latina from Mexico who's just starting out her business as a Pilates instructor. She reached out and said, "Hey, I have this business. I want to start, getting attention to it, and you have a platform for it." And I was like, "Let's do it." And she sold out her first event.
Awesome.
It was amazing. And we had like a vendor, a Latina vendor that got like pastries and coffee as well. So we try to bring things together and just give back, because I think what makes social clubs, Latina social clubs, special in each city is that you have that community that influences events, that like opens the door for you and says, "Hey, you guys can have an event here." It makes it really unique to each city, and it's not just like a nationwide thing where like, "Oh, come join us for like, I don't know, a beach day or something." It's like, "Oh, come join us at this, coffee shop that's owned by a Latina, get to know her story," and stuff like that.
The when you say other Latina social clubs, are they their own thing, nothing to do with you, or
Nothing to do, yeah.
just a group of Latinas with their own name and brand and everything else?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. They're popping up in Dallas. Like there's, I forget the names, there's Latinas that have their own groups that are starting to do like their own events, and we even want to collaborate with them and get them going, because just because we're Latina Social Club doesn't mean that there isn't room for more social clubs that have Latinas in them. If a Latina can't make it to one of our events because it's further away than the same another Latina social club that's doing their event, I want them to have options to go, okay, so I can't go to Latina Social Club, but I know that this club is having another event that's closer to me at the better time. I'm going to go to that one. So we really are not like trying to gatekeep, or we're not doing it for followers or because of like, influencer vibes. We want to really create a space and open the door to as many businesses and social clubs so that girls have options to do things and to meet people in Dallas Fort Worth.
What is the biggest highlight for you so far as partnering up with somebody that a celebrity or somebody that's known in the community that you've felt like, man, this is really emotion. This is really doing what I wanted it to do. What kind of sort of envision a little bit it was doing?
Yeah, I mean, when you say that, the first event that comes to mind, we've had a lot of great collaborations. Dallas Fort Worth has been amazing in opening its doors for us. There is a Doctora Mary Margaret Carrillo. She is the founder of Latina Institute, and she is she speaks and she talks about like Latinas and the journeys and she has like conferences. It was during a lot of like, it's still continuing, but what's going on for the Latino community all over the country. And I remember in my apartment, like sitting down and just feeling so heavy and so emotional and so helpless. Like I couldn't do anything. And that my community was being targeted. And I'm like, if I'm feeling this way, I know other girls are feeling this way. So I reached out to her and I was like, would you mind facilitating something private where we can come together and talk about how we feel, talk about, just like what's going on, so we have a place to like release our emotions. And so we came together and we met at a coffee shop and we kind of had this like discussion, and there were tears. There were girls who shared, I've had family members who have been deported. My own father, like not my own father, but like she was talking about how her father was, deported. And it was like, I never like imagined it to be like, there was a social, like I said, social aspect of it. But what it was doing in that case is like bringing Latinas together, giving them like, you have options, you can do something. If you when you protest, or you don't have to protest to make a difference. And like we were sharing resources. So I think at that moment I was incredibly proud of the collaboration and of, what it meant to be bringing Latinas together, that, you're not alone, and that it is really scary, and that it is incredibly like a difficult situation, but you have a community that understands you and that wants to help. So I think collaborating with Latina Voices Institute was one of like the best. It's one of the highlights for me.
The emotional support part that you talked about, just in that intimate setting of just being able to process that, where does that come from for you? What do you know? How do you know that it's important, or where do you find that it's important to be able to do that?
So I mean, for me, when I was going through that, I don't think that it's hard to talk to like people who aren't Latina about it. Mm-hmm. Even my own parents, I just don't think that it like hit them as hard as it does someone who's, I don't know how to explain it, but I knew that it was important, because if I was feeling so lost and so like confused and so helpless, like just like when I was feeling super isolated, I knew that there were other Latinas that needed that just like me. And that's why I created this Latina Social Club. And that's why I was like, this needs to happen. Like, it's good to be around people that think similar and that feel similar to you, and kind of just like to let it all out. There was like anger that was let out. There was sadness that was let out. And holding that in is not healthy. So I knew that it was something that needed to happen. And I have a platform that can be used to get the word out that we're doing this, and that you're welcome if you want to come.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. I don't doubt that it definitely helped the people that attended and anybody that saw the impact of that event itself in general, to be able to know that we are still going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Irrelevant to everything that's going on. This shall pass like everything else. But to me, it just seems like we know that we're making a mark in the States and continue to do so, and mm-hmm. have done. And the reason why sometimes it's kind of hard to accept it, that we are it.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, we're running short on time.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything in your mind right now as far as Latina Social Club? Where do you see it going? Where have you envisioned anything that you want to happen? Or is there any particular collaboration that you want to do? Or what else do you have in your mind, in your vision for Latina Social Club?
Yeah, so I wanted to keep growing. I want to continue to collaborate with the community. I know there's still a lot of opportunities to do so. And I think today I released like a letter on our Latina Social Club page that I'm a big traveler, so I wanted to bring some of that magic to Latina Social Club as well. And I think a lot of the times when you travel, you go and you meet people, and then you kind of like, you don't get to see them again because they don't live in your city. So I was like, we can do trips, Latina Social Club trips. And how cool is it that you get to go with the girls that you already have met at these events and
Latina
come
Social
back.
Club International? What?
International. So we want to do one national trip and one international trip a year. Awesome. And we're collaborating with community partners to bring those trips to life, because they have a lot more experience than, I would. So our first trip is going to be going to Fredericksburg in May. And then,
beautiful place.
Yeah, I've never been.
Very nice. And then
lots of wine. Yes. And then potentially, it's still in the works, but a lot of the girls wanted to go to Ireland, so maybe that for fall of 2026. So it's expanding. We have our book club. It just started. That's really popular. So yeah, it's traveling is coming to Latina Social Club, and I just hope that it continues to grow and continues to be a space where Latinas can find their community, they can find friendships, and yeah.
You were just in California, right? Francisco?
I was in San Francisco and Napa and Sonoma.
You're literally where...
Yeah, I know.
I was over there.
Oh, you were?
Not that long ago.
Oh, nice.
Like during the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
The same areas, too. The same place you took a picture that you saw.
Oh, really?
Post, the same place that I was at. Sonoma, yeah. San Jose, Santa Clara, San Francisco, Sacramento, all that area.
Yeah, I was Beautiful. Too lazy to like go up and like the actual picturesque moment, so I just crossed the bridge. I'm like, this will do, and I took a photo in the bridge.
Same. Yeah. I was in one of those posts ex-military post
Oh,
that they
yeah,
have,
yeah.
and I was up there to take a picture where
Yeah.
everybody puts the locks.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait a minute,
that one.
was she checking out my
Yeah.
IG a long time ago? We're in the
Stalking
same
you.
areas, not at
Yeah.
all. But I'm just saying that's so funny that you were over there. Why
Mhm.
traveling? Why you like traveling? Why do you like to be out and about and seeing? What does it bring to you? What does it do to you traveling the world, traveling the states?
Honestly don't know. I think as a very young Allie, like she's always wanted to travel. She's always been very adventurous, like experience new cultures. I think going to Sweden, like even like helped that even more. It's just you get lost in it and you kind of like forget about work and you forget about like your day to day and you can just go and
Yeah.
experience new things. I don't know, seeing like the monuments and stuff, like, oh, you're in front of like the pyramids or you're in front of like Big Ben. Like it's just
Yeah.
kind of like it hits you. And I think as a Latina, it's just, I don't know, something different. And I got to go with my parents, and they've worked their entire lives. So they're retiring in a year. So to get to see them travel and to experience everything, I'm taking them to Europe next month. So
Awesome.
that was
that you? Was
that was
my
my phone. Yeah.
Nothing's wrong. Calm down.
Yeah.
See?
So to see like the light in their eyes when they get, like my mom gets to see like Paris for the first time and she's always dreamt of going. It just brings joy to me. I think there's just like there's so much out there and I've always just wanted to like explore and dig and just find all that treasure.
Isn't that interesting to be able to see other cultures just go out and about their day? It just does something to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
When you're in your own bubble here in the United States only, never been outside, you don't get those experiences, the empathy of how other people live and the appreciation and gratitude whenever you come back for the things that you have because you take it for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before I let you go, what did your parents would say about the young Ale? Like, what was she like? What did she like to do? Did you kind of sort of see that she was going to be where she at right now or not really?
I was very determined. I was very like headstrong. I was like very like independent. I was called Chivita Loca by my
Chivita
uncle.
Loca.
I still am.
Porque
I like
brincabas por donde quiera.
yeah, everywhere. Crazy goat. I was climbing on top of things. I was always asking for like stories. Like my grandmother, I couldn't say cuento, so I would say dime un pento. But it was always like I wanted like the scariest stories. And like now when I ask her like, hey, remember that story you told me? And she's like, oh yeah, I made that up. Like very like I was just very like inquisitive and asking a lot of questions. A little bit of a bully to my younger brother, but then again, my older sister isn't. So if I see myself little, I definitely like believe that she would get to where she is now. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Any questions that you had coming over here? Like, oh man, I wish he asked me this, or I wish we talk about this. Anything that comes to mind to you?
I don't think so. I love that we talked about like my personal like journey and it wasn't just about Latina Social Club and we talked about, Latina Social Club as well, but I don't think I have anything that we missed or anything like that.
Cool. Yeah. I'm really good. She sent me all the bio, by the way. But I'm really good at I want to tell the story about you, not in the sense of just for the Latina Social Club. I know it's a big part and I know it's taking off, but you done some amazing things before you began to do and want to do the social club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You already had a master's. And I didn't know none of those things about you until I asked about a little more information about you and be like, wow, this is neat.
Yeah, thank you.
And then that's also part of the things that people can understand of like showing somebody that's doing the things that you're doing. It's important because sometimes as much as we don't want to see that somebody's doing it, it's something about seeing somebody that look like them, a Latina doing this, doing the job that you do, and be like, oh, that could be inspiring to other people. Yeah. We take it for granted sometimes, not realizing how important it is to be able to see somebody like you doing something.
Exactly, yeah.
It is. Yeah. So no questions whatsoever.
No.
I'm good. Just kidding. So all the social media, where can they find you if you want to have your personal one, or Latina Social Club, where can they find them at?
So we have latinasocialclub.squarespace.com, and then we have Latina Social Club _DFW. The Facebook group is not as poppin' as I want it to be. It's definitely more on Instagram. And then if you ever want to email us, Latina Social Club DFW @gmail. Yeah, we're on Instagram and we have our own website.
Awesome. Make sure you go check them out. I'm going to put all the links on the description. Saludos. Any saludos to anybody impactful? Todas las chavas, todas las chicas, anything you have in mind for saludos?
Saludos to my mom and my family in Tampico, who I'm going to share this with, and my brother, and then my ambassadors. I mean, I really wouldn't be where I am without them. They are a very key part to what I'm doing and how we're going to continue to grow. They're a life of their own, and I'm very, very, very grateful for them.
Next time if I see you, I'll be like, Doctora, ¿qué pasó, doctora?
Hopefully, yeah.
But it's very neat what you're doing. What is an important lesson that you learned? It could be either your career or Latina Social Club that you would tell your younger self that would help somebody else out. What would that be? Important lesson.
I think growing up from immigrant parents and starting something new and like driving your own like collegiate career as well, like being first gen, hard work. Like it really does take hard work, and no one's going to hand it to you. You have to, be determined, and you have to work hard at it. So as many times as you want to give up, you can't. Like, just don't give up. Just keep doing it. Even if, you don't have, like if 5 people come to your first event, or if you fail your first test or something, just keep going. It gets easier. It gets better.
Where do you get those courage to whenever you're ready to throw in the towel to keep pushing?
Honestly, I think of my parents. I think of all the sacrifices they've made. And it just sounds very cliche, because I know a lot of kids would say that, like if they were, if they have immigrant parents, but it really is the truth. You think of your parents and you think of the life that they sacrificed to come and to give you a better life, and you don't want to disappoint them. And I really do have done what I do for them and to make them proud.
Awesome. Don't doubt. They're super proud. Mm-hmm. I'm not speaking for them, but I know they are for sure, 100%. Well, so during my day, sometime out and about, I say something along the lines, I'm not immortal, I am mortal, and I will die one day. Not to scare me, terrorize me. I heard it from this guru guy and a yogi guy, and I thought it was very profound at that time. With that, I wish you a very long, prosperous life. After everything's said and done, what do you want people to think and feel about your life?
Inspired. Maybe like, oh, she's doing it, I can do it too. Like inspiration for sure.
Do you think the work you're doing, whether it be professionally or what you do as far as what Latina Social Club, you're calling for you?
Definitely. I never saw myself in like a leadership position. I don't think, I was very shy too as a kid. Like when I was like 11, 12, I got very shy. And looking back now, I'm like, wow, like I founded a social club for someone that's like an extroverted introvert, I consider myself. Mm-hmm. But when you're really passionate about it, that kind of like melts away, and like you kind of forget that you have this shyness, and you stand tall, you stand bold, because it's what you believe in and what you worked hard for. So yeah.
I always can tell the guests is super relaxed and good to go, and they forgot that the camera is there because of their body language and how they adjust. Because sometimes I keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me how I can see it.
I'm
and
definitely
right now,
relaxed.
And right now you're relaxed because the arm is here and you're just more chill.
Yeah.
Then in the beginning you were like this. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just kind of neat for me to see. Yeah. But for being your very first podcast, we're a really good platform to be able to have somebody to give them exposure, and then they can go and do bigger stuff like the news and whatever other media is there to do, because I think it's very important, again, to show representation and to be able to show what you're doing. A lot of people would think, oh, social club, this and that, but the impact, the community, the things that you work out with other people, as far as like the conversations in general that can push you forward. Sometimes people might not think it's super important, but it is. Yeah. And not to mention, again, I know Aida told me about you. I know that she said I had great things to talk about you, the club itself, and I was just asking all kinds of questions already because I'm just already formulating things in my mind. But then when you send me your information about the bio, I'm like, oh my goodness, this woman is super powerful. Like she's literally done the schooling part that other people are not willing to do, like myself, to go do and enjoy doing it. And now being somebody that's a leader as far as the group itself and growing it and continue to do bigger things for the community. And without a doubt, Alejandra, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember to subscribe right now. You do not want to miss the episodes that we have here, especially with Alejandra, such an amazing, powerful Latina. And remember, we are just like you. We are people. We are the spice and flavor in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time. La